Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer from English with Jennifer. I have the ambitious goal of presenting 12 literary devices. I can't do this in the blink of an eye, but I promise I won't be as slow as molasses. Hopefully by the time we're through, you'll love these wonderful, witty yet wacky literary devices, and you'll understand which ones I just used. Let's get started. Have you ever faced rejection? If you ask someone out on a date and they give a polite excuse each time, "Oh, I'm going out of town. I have family visiting," I think you're failing to read between the lines. The person isn't interested in having dinner with you. They're not saying this directly. You just have to understand what isn't being said. To read between the lines is an idiom. It's a figurative expression, a colorful way of speaking. Idioms are used in spoken and written English. They're common in movies and novels, in the news, and in conversation. It's important to understand them, but that doesn't mean you have to learn every idiom under the sun. You also shouldn't try to use idioms in every single sentence. That won't make your English sound more natural. Remember that some idioms are used only in a particular variety of English. Americans don't understand every British idiom, and vice versa. Also, there could be idioms that sound outdated to a younger generation.
What do you say, Dorothy? You want to hit the hay, as they say on the farm? What do you say, Dorothy? You want to hit the hay, as they say on the farm? What do you say, Dorothy? You want to hit the hay, as they say on the farm?
Similes and metaphors are creative ways to make comparisons. They're common in poetry, but that doesn't mean that poets have a monopoly on them. You can use them too. Similes are comparisons that use like or as. Metaphors are direct comparisons. I'll give you some examples and then you can tell me whether they're similes or metaphors. Certain things are like riding a bike. Time is money. The child ate all the cookies and then sat there as innocent as a lamb. My neighbor has become a thorn in my side with her constant complaints. Wow, you look like $1 million. Similes and metaphors allow us to be creative and colorful, but also concise. They should be easy to understand. We shouldn't have to explain them. The similes and metaphors I just shared are common. If you use them, you'll be understood.
I'm clear. I'm clear as a bell.
An analogy is similar to a simile or a metaphor because we're making a comparison. But an analogy has a purpose. We use analogies to explain things.
Douglas, you are STEM. Katya, you are petty. Together, you make love.
How should a man and a woman skate in figure skating? Like petals on a stem. Together, they form a flower that blooms in beauty. A colorful way of putting it, right?
Douglas, you are STEM. Katya, you are petty. Together, you make love.
Hyperbole appears in spoken and written English. Some people like to make a mountain out of a molehill. It's just their style to exaggerate. They use hyperbole. Telling you that there are a million reasons why you should study with me is an exaggeration. I can probably come up with a couple dozen, but not a million. If you'd like more examples, watch my lesson on hyperbole. You'll see how similes and idioms kind of mix in with hyperbole.
Don't tell Marilla that I said anything. She'll say I'm interfering.
Wild horses couldn't drag it from me.
Irony is something you have to be mature enough to detect. It can be hard for a young child to understand this subtle form of humor. Irony often has to do with a surprising situation, an unexpected outcome. Sometimes we comment on the irony of a situation, like when Steve Jobs got fired from Apple and then went back to help the company and make it great. We can say, "Do you see the irony? Isn't that ironic?" How ironic, right? Other times, irony isn't a surprising situation, but rather a contrast between our words and our true thoughts. Hearing your neighbors scream at each other as they argue may lead you to say, well, I guess they feel the need to open up and share their feelings. That kind of understatement is a form of irony. Sarcasm, in my understanding, is an extension of irony. Sarcasm is negative. It's meant to be insulting or confrontational. Let's say you know a guy who was stood up at his wedding, meaning the bride decided not to go through with it. She didn't come. You heartlessly comment, "I bet that felt bad." The guy responds with sarcasm.
No, it felt really good. Thanks for bringing it up, man. You know, my parents died when I was 10. Would you like to talk about that?
Puns are humorous wordplay. Advertisers especially like to play with what words mean and how words sound. I was searching online and I came across a Vietnamese restaurant out in California called Good Pho You. It made me smile and chuckle. Good Pho You? That's a play on words. Pho is the name of the soup and it sounds a lot like for. Good for you, good pho you. That's a clever and memorable pun. That's good marketing. If I were in the area, I'd try their pho soup. Puns can make use of homophones, and I have a lesson on that, by the way. I'll put the link in the video description. Journalists and reporters sometimes use puns, like Bill Murray's character in Groundhog Day. He gives a report on February 2nd, and he's waiting for the groundhog named Phil to make its prediction.
So I guess the question we have to ask ourselves today is, does Phil feel lucky? So I guess the question we have to ask ourselves today is, does Phil feel lucky?
Parallelism is something I usually talk about in the context of grammar and writing. Parallel structure is about having grammatically equal terms in pairs or a series of items. For example, neither too hard nor too difficult. As a literary device, parallelism is about using repetition of structures for emphasis. We have parallelism in many of our sayings and proverbs. No pain, no gain. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You'll also hear it in movies.
We came, we saw, we kicked it.
You don't want to have too much repetition, especially in your writing, but a small amount can be effective. Parallelism can convey an idea clearly. The delivery can be strong and memorable.
We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive.
Personification is giving human qualities to inanimate objects, non-human things. I read an example at my New Year's Eve live stream. In Tennyson's poem, Ring Out Wild Bells, he writes, "The year is dying in the night. Ring out wild bells and let him die." The poet thinks of the passing year as a person dying. There are some conversational expressions that use personification, like opportunity knocks. When opportunity knocks, open the door. Fortune smiles on someone. Fortune was smiling on me the day I met you.
Opportunity is knocking at the door. If you don't want to answer it, fine.
An oxymoron is formed when we put two words together, and it seems like they contradict each other, but instead the meaning is clear and strong. In my grammar lesson on intensifiers and downtoners, I taught the phrase awfully good. It means really good. That's an oxymoron.
She's an awfully good reporter, right?
In one of my bonus videos for Patreon members, I taught ways to organize information. For example, names can appear in alphabetical order, from A to Z. Other times, names might be listed in random order. There's no logic to it. So random order is an oxymoron. Listen for more oxymorons.
It was the only choice possible.
Choice implies two or more options, right? So how can we talk about our only choice? But we do. It means the only thing we can do.
Everybody act natural. Act naturally.
If you're acting, how is it natural or normal? But act naturally is a common phrase. Onomatopoeia is a lot of fun, although it's a difficult word to spell. I bet you know some examples already. Here are just a few. Boom, hiss, zip, meow. These words imitate the sounds they describe. The pitter-patter of raindrops is another good example. The pitter-patter of raindrops is the sound of rain as it hits a surface. Check out my lesson on onomatopoeia to learn more, especially animal sounds. Do you know what a dog, a frog, and a cow say in English? I'll put all links in the video description.
Frog goes ribbit, 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 ribbit.
Alliteration is our last literary device. Americans love to use it, especially in names. Janet Jackson, Ronald Reagan, Marilyn Monroe. Alliteration is the use of repetitive sounds. We usually repeat the first consonant sound, but repetition can also be in the middle of a word. We also like to repeat vowel sounds. Alliteration makes a name sound more musical. When I created some of my levels on Patreon, I used alliteration. After super member comes truly marvelous member. And then absolutely amazing member. Can you think of any businesses or celebrities with alliteration in their names?
Ned! Ryerson! Needle-nosed Ned the Head. Come on, buddy.
We did it. 12 literary devices worth knowing. Look out for them. Try using them a bit. And I'll just be jumping for joy if you decide to like and share this video. Remember, I have tons of other topics, so be sure to check out my other playlists. As always, thanks for watching and happy studies.
Everyone, visit me on Patreon. You can join to support my online work, get live lessons and bonus videos, and some of you may even want a monthly one-on-one video call. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe. Turn on those notifications.